Hey everybody, nice to see you guys virtually. I'm just going to give it a few minutes for some more people to get into the room. If you're on Instagram and you can hear me but you can't see me, I put the link in the bio so you guys can catch us on YouTube or Facebook. So I'm just going to, let's start at 8:08. And we will get it popping. I'm excited. I'm excited about this. This is going to be an amazing, amazing season finale. So 2 more minutes. All right? All right. Welcome, welcome. 1 more minute. We're going to get started because I want to be respectful of everybody's time. How is everybody? It's almost Friday. That's exciting. Yeah. Life, love. I'm checking the comments. If you see me staring off and look like I'm not paying attention, I have multiple screens, so I am seeing everything. And I definitely am very much paying attention. We have tags coming now, so we're waiting for the Facebook people to get tagged. Instagram folks are being redirected. I see the numbers climbing, so we're good. All right, let's get started, right? Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is, I have to say this, this is going to be my last time for a while saying this. Welcome to 3H Table Talk. I love this series. This is probably my favorite part of what I do, because one, I'm not the highlight, and I get to highlight some amazing people in the community and what they're doing and how they've grown. And I love to facilitate this conversation of growing outside of the garden. So much of what I do is focused on growing in the garden. I get to take a short reprieve and just talk to some fantastic folks about ways our community can grow in all areas of our life. So welcome to 3H Table Talk. This is Healing Edition. But more importantly, this is the final episode of season 1, our very first inaugural season of Table Talk. And I mean, I'll go into it in the end of how successful we have been and how popular this series has been, but I am blown away by the support of people in our community for this series, for the opportunity to be able to curate tough conversations and create safe spaces for people in the Black community to come together and have talks about the things we aren't talking about, should be talking about, don't feel comfortable talking about. It has been a pleasure and an honor of mine. And I cannot find, I could not have found a better person to end this season. Y'all are gonna love her. I know y'all love everybody. Like, we look at the comments afterwards and we see these things and we see that everyone falls in love with, everyone has like a favorite character of every episode. And then we moved into the solo hours And then you guys had no choice but to fall in love with the one person here because y'all sure ain't in love with me. Okay. And I just feel like this one, she was made for this. But more importantly, just get into kind of what we're talking about this final season or this final installment of the season. So this started back in February in a basement. And, and me and my best friends joke about this. But I was displaced from my home in February. I had just had some medical issues. I still wanted to advocate. I felt like I was in the best place of what I wanted to do for the community. And then I got moved to another state because the house I lived in was no longer habitable. So me and my 3 children moved to a basement. It had 2 small bedrooms. I mean, we went from a house that could fit us all to being cramped and being in the house together all day long. It was very stressful. And I was down. I wasn't in the best of spirits. I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to do it. And out of that moment, out of that season, came the idea for this series, and how and it came so flawlessly, it came so completely that I had to get up out of my sleep and write it down, that we were going to create a space to grow in and out of the garden around our 3 pillars: homestead, hustle, and healing. The talk was going to first focus on growing in the garden. We were going to bring together some of the best homesteaders and gardeners to share their knowledge. It's not easy to get, especially how busy everyone is. It's not easy to get people willing to come on the stage, but we've done it 3 times. The first month we talked about growing where you were planted. And that's what I felt like I was doing in the basement, y'all. I was growing where I was planted. I wanted to sit, and I wanted to be depressed, and I wanted to all these things, but I had to find a way to grow where I was placed. And so that was our theme the first month. And we went through the homesteading, we went through the hustle. We you know, part of us uplifting ourselves as a Black community has got to be economically. It's got to be self-sufficiency, and it's got to be economics. It's got to be someone teaching us about money and filling in the gaps of the education that we are not always given. There's a huge disadvantage just because of the color of our skin, just because of where we are placed in this country. And so it's time to level the playing field. And that is my hope with this series. Then we went into healing, and at first, it's like nobody wants to really talk about that, my feelings, but that was also an integral part. Again, we cannot grow in 2 areas. We have to grow inward, outward, financially. You know, we have to get back our physical health. We have to get back our mental health. And I've been blown away about how easy these conversations have been around mental health, and how eager people in our community are about learning this and getting help and asking for help and having conversations about why we don't until recently, or haven't until recently, made mental health a priority. So the second month we went into root work, and that whole theme was about digging deep for actual growth. In the garden, a lot of the growth that we spend time waiting, we don't think anything's happening, but a lot is happening under the soil. And I like to relate principles of the garden. It can easily be transposed into real life. So you have root work happening, right? The deeper the roots, it actually makes the plant less susceptible to disease, to pests. It makes it firmer, it makes it grounded, it makes it healthy. And I think we need to apply those same attributes to our own lives, our own personal development. So we went through that. And then this month in April, in April, we went through, this one is the power of seasons. And again, taking lessons from the garden, we are changing seasons. The winter is over, right? And we are just waiting for everything to warm up. But we have to also take a moment and realize that every season of our lives and in the garden is important and it serves a purpose. So last night, well, first we talked homestead and we had the hilarious Kamani gardening and beats. Shout out to you, sir. And then we had last night, were y'all here for Judy? Getting us together and all of our coins collected, okay, talking about generational wealth and breaking those curses in our lineage to keep us without and keep us in lack. So last night we had part 1 of the finale, and that was 3H Table Talk Hustle Edition. And tonight is the healing edition. And I just love that it's last. I wouldn't want it any other place. But before we go forward, I want to take a look back. Bear with me. I have a video for you. It's like 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes or so. And it really, if you have not had a chance to catch the other episodes, they are all on our YouTube. They're going to be put into podcast format. It's time for you to catch up. But here's a preview. Bear with me, y'all.
My parents did not keep the land. They ended up losing the land by not paying taxes because they hated Live Oak. They used to have to go there during the summer to make their money for school, and they hated it. They didn't want to do slave work. So they didn't understand the value in keeping that property. And as I'm researching, back when sharecropping was going on, over almost 1 million Black people owned land in America. Now there's only about 40-something thousand Black farmers. And it's sad because when
me and you running this network, you know this person, connect with them. Mm-hmm. Magic happens every time. And unfortunately, I think that a lot of us in the Black community, we don't really capitalize on social capital, because I'm telling you, other communities, they are driving each other up the ladder just by, oh, you know my uncle? Oh, you know my cousin? Facts. Oh, the CEO of this company. Oh, you can get an internship over there. Oh, we go golfing together. Oh, we go, and we have to build our social capital. I'm not just talking about, oh, say hi on Facebook. Connect with people that you want to be in the same industry with. Okay, a lot of people
and we all know that hurt people. So I knew that I needed help, but to kind of go into the second question, as Vanessa was saying, I'm Jamaican, and my daddy was born in 1939 in Jamaica at that. So mental health ain't no mental health. Like this, they out here, like they out, like, and you got to think like that's who I grew up around, him and his friends. So I grew up around old Black men. So ain't no mental health. Like, we out here, we gonna do what we gotta do to take care of this woman, to make sure that she's straight. Or I'm not gonna say or women, because I ain't gonna bash Black men don't cheat. But
that's, you know what, that is true. But now I'm like knee deep into this. So now I'm like, how do I bring in an owl? How do I now I'm getting real deep. Like, when you watch how there's this the tiniest farm or something like that on YouTube, if I will put out the link. It is amazing how they designed this farm for the kind of like the ecosystem of animals to take care of the pests. So when they had this vole rodent issue, they brought in owls, and the owls killed like 40, or more animals a night. I'm trying to bring an owl into my backyard.
And Hollywood told me straight up to my face, like, you're too big, you're too dark skinned to make it, to be successful in this arena. And I said, like, to my face, like, really? And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like, okay. So I had to process some things. I was like, okay, like, what do you do next? Like, what do you do with that information when somebody's like, you know, blatantly in your face telling you this? And this is before Gabourey Sabidade, before the Moniques, before all of that. So I'm like, okay. I still went out to like, I worked. I was working. I moved out there. I became a researcher for the union.
That I don't want to live like that. Nothing more, nothing less. I just don't want to live like that. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be upset every day. I don't want to be anxious every time I'm in the room with my partner. Like, that's not what love to me is. And a minor miscommunication on just like household stuff can just get people, relationships, love, whatever, to a point to where you can cross the line. And before I crossed the line, I had to go. Like, I didn't grow up seeing that. Like, there wasn't a man there. So I didn't see that. So I knew, like, that's not the route I want to go. And that's kind of been my story all throughout my life. As a teenager, not domestically, but just arguing with your girlfriend when you're 20. Like, what are you arguing for? So once I got a grown man and it's still the same thing, and now I have children, now I have lives invested, like, I can't play with that. So yeah, like, this has been my therapy, and I'm not against therapy. Like, I went in a relationship, so I definitely
was crazy. So I fell into a big thing of depression, which almost led to attempted suicide. My mom was like, "You got to get a garden. You got to get a garden." I was like, "I don't want no garden." Hell.
That was her answer.
Yeah, that was her. Yeah. After she saved me, you know, she got me a lawyer to do the bankruptcy stuff. She bought my car for me. I had just got a new car. So usually they'd take your car. And so she bought the car from me for $1. I mean, I still kept the car. And eventually she convinced me to do the garden thing. And I was like, but I really don't want to do it. And she said, well, start with what you like. And what I like was strawberries. I still love strawberries. Still got a lot of strawberries growing in my yard right now. The same ones actually that I started 10 years, 12 years ago. And she told me to do that. And I went out there, got the strawberries, put them in the ground. I was like, they never gonna grow. I'm never gonna get no strawberries. I don't know why she told me to get a garden, you know. And then, Lord, behold, there were strawberries.
I gave you a preview of the topics we were talking about, but I want to throw something at you because mostly I want to see your face.
Okay.
Okay. What is holding the Black community back from building generational wealth?
Selfishness. Mindset of...
I wasn't expecting that. Okay, let's talk about it.
That's a new one. Let's do that.
I set myself up for this. I did. Yikes. Okay. Go ahead, girl. Talk to me.
I thought of selfishness because, and it's not their fault. It's not our fault. You touched on it earlier in the introduction, where we kind of have this mindset of scarcity, right? That we've started so at a disadvantaged place, right? So we don't completely have all the resources we need to survive even sometimes, right?
Y'all see why I'm excited? Do you see why I'm excited? It has been amazing. And we get so caught up with it, right? And the weeks go by and we're like, yeah, and, you know, and people, the feedback that I'm getting from this is, you know, it's something that you guys look forward to, but I look forward to it. I love Table Talk, and I'm sad to see it go. But as we kick up, you know, our initiatives in the garden, I mean, we're in this to feed people. So it's time to start feeding the people. But tonight, I want to feed our souls a little bit. And you know what? I have to say, and she's backstage, and I can see her. Y'all can't see her, but I can see her. I'm a little nervous about this one. This might be the only one I am nervous about. One, because I'm extremely protective of this woman. Like, this not one you play with me, okay? And I am so protective of her story, but I am so excited that she has been able to share it, and she has agreed to share it with all of us. So I'm gonna hurry up and get through my introduction. Y'all know me. I can't keep doing this introduction thing, y'all. You should know me. You should. But if you don't, my name is Vanessa, and I am the founder of Homestead Hustle and Healing. This organization was created as a way to increase self-sufficiency in Black communities that are underserved and underfed. We do that in a unique way. We do that by teaching gardening education. And you may think I'm a little bit crazy. And a little picture with that's kale, by the way. But my thinking is, and the approach of my organization is that if we put a little bit more money in people's pockets, we increase their health by teaching them to grow healthy, nutritious foods, we can then fill the fridges for a lot less. Public benefits go a lot farther. People learn to buy local. They learn what's in their food. They're exposed to foods they never would have thought they could even grow in these communities and prepare in these communities. I have to tell you that I'm not a fan of bodegas. I'm not a fan of the corner stores. I want to take back the block. And I do that by teaching people to grow their own food. I'm an advocate. I'm an advocate for food insecurity. I'm an advocate to, increase food access, culturally appropriate food access in minority neighborhoods. But I do still understand, having come from that myself, that you cannot expect people to advocate for the block if you don't teach them to advocate for their household. So this is why I do what I do. So that's me. I'm Vanessa in a nutshell, and I'm your host. But more importantly, I'd like to introduce you to my dear, dear sister. I'm going to just call her, that's my little sis. From the moment I met her, like little sis. Her name is Miss Ashli. And I could go on and on and on about her. And you guys usually know I have a bio, but it couldn't fit on a slide. So, so I gave y'all all of the beautiful shots, and I'm going to actually let her introduce herself. Ashli, welcome to the stage.
Yay. No, thank you for the beautiful introduction. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I want to throw this disclaimer out there real quick. They know there's a baby in my lap. So, any sudden cries or a whip out of the boob, it won't be on screen, but I'm letting you know it's going down. So thank you so much for having me. I am completely honored. I feel like everybody has a story, so don't hype me up, man. Don't do that.
It's very humble, y'all. Extremely humble as well.
I try.
All right, so I'm going to take down my slides, and then it's just going to be you and me. Are you ready, girl? We ready?
Look, you said you was a little nervous. So am I, girl. Wait, first,
okay, I probably shouldn't have said, but I am, because I love you so much. I do.
I love you too.
I see the little baby hand.
You see the hand? She's like, yo, relax. All right, I'm sorry. It's real life, y'all.
I know we pulled Ashli out of maternity leave for this
facts.
for the final episode of Table Talk.
Oh my gosh,
girl, I am so honored to have you here, and I know I felt like I was there for a lot of your story, like even in lingering in the background. I met you. Let me tell y'all, like the first time I ever saw Ashli. Like I remember seeing Ashli. Because I'm pretty sure I saw her when I was in high school, but like actually like my first day spending time with her. I don't remember if you were pregnant or if I was pregnant, but we were on the couch in Jay's. We were both pregnant. We've been pregnant together a couple times.
Yes, we have.
And she was so tiny. And I was just
gonna
like,
say.
I know I fell in love instantly. Like, aww. I just want to just protect her, even though she needs she's a bulldog. She needs no protection.
Let them know. I'm pretty
Don't
fierce.
let the sweet face fool you,
Please
y'all.
Don't. Please don't.
She'll come for that neck.
I don't even mean different. To, but it's just in me. It's just in me.
And it's so funny, like as we've gone through the years, even though we're not close to each other. Our paths almost walked the same. Like she moved, I moved, our kids are pretty much the same ages. We went through things, and then I'd hear she was going through things. I'm like, is this my doppelganger? You know? And so I have in the audience witnessed her seasons and the growth. And I can tell you that the woman sitting here today is forged in fire. Forged in fire. Okay? What's the girl's name? The Dothraki lady from Game of Thrones. She is Khaleesi.
Oh, Khaleesi. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, wow. Thank you.
You're welcome. And she does it like, did y'all see them pictures though? Like, my baby's fine. She fine.
You displayed like all my personalities on one
Yeah.
page. I was looking
Yeah.
like, yeah, that is all me, huh? Like I look different in everything.
Right. Because she modeled, she had her own podcast, she did event. I remember you was doing events.
Girl, yes.
And nobody.
That's one thing about me. Anything that I think about wanting to do, I'm gonna do it. Even if it's one time. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do that. And I just do it.
Let me tell you, you are one scrappy little lady because you have done it all, and then was like, what? Because I had my kids young, I'm still gonna go to school. I'm still gonna finish all those limitations that they put on
I have
us.
to. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Because when did you have your first child?
I had my daughter when I was 17. I was
17. So a lot of people, especially where we come from, it's kind of like, we know you got kids, girl. Don't even worry about it. I see the look. I give my kids that same look. I see it.
He come easing out the room talking about talking to himself, I guess. It's funny.
No, y'all don't see it, but mine straight get the talk before I get on here. Okay, like this. I
tried it. Only one of them ended up they were supposed to spread the message, but I see that's not happening. But it's all good.
No,
they're gonna see this face.
No worries. Yeah, but you've done so much. You've broken every barrier. Every time someone told you couldn't, you went and did it, and you did it looking, like you ain't aged one bit. She looked exactly like this at 17 years old. She hasn't aged.
Thank you. Thank God. What do they say? I said earlier. Look, a few minutes ago though, y'all, I was looking like what I've been through. But fortunately, I was able to get myself together. So
yeah, it was a transformation, but she was beautiful before. I was like, wait, didn't I just see you breastfeeding a child in like a ponytail?
Yes. But it's been a journey in many seasons. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Man. All right, so let's get into it. I don't want to waste any time, and I got 1,000,001 questions for you.
Let's do it.
So I know your story is long. I know it's long, but I want to know like where it started, and that's like an open question. Wherever you feel comfortable, like if you think about, remember the theme of this is the power of seasons.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about one of the first seasons you can remember, whether it be in childhood, in early adolescence. Did it start when you had your kid? Like, tell me where this Ashli, who you are now, where it all started.
It's hard to pinpoint one era, but something that really comes to mind is like childhood. Shout out to my mom, because Lord knows a lot of our childhoods were rough, right? Mine was rough, but it was to the point to where there were so many good moments, and it kind of overrode all the struggle. But to be honest, the first season that I really remember, in which started my roller coaster of a life, was how unstable my childhood was. And I always remember like the first night my mom, like we left my abusive stepfather and went to the first of many different shelters that I lived in growing up with my mom. And yeah, like it just starts there, because it's just so interesting how you go through things as a kid and you become an adult, and then to see the parallels that happen in your life or things that you revisit maybe as an adult that you've been through as a child. I don't really know the purpose in it, but it's interesting to see the parallels. But that's the first season I remember. It's like a struggle. I gave the shout out to my mom because Lord knows we had plenty of great moments, but it's kind of like a staple for just how
I'm not getting her anymore. Oh no. Is anybody else getting her? Thank you. My sister's in the comments, y'all. Miss Freshie, thank you. We're going to wait for Ashli to reconnect. Give us just one moment. Oh, it was just getting good, y'all. But one thing that she did say that I was going to save until after she finished speaking was, about her mom and that whole, when you're in it, I think it's easy for us to like hold resentment against our families and, like what we, kind of what we went through. We don't understand it. But then as an adult, we have this understanding as we go through things on our own to just be understanding to say, you know what, you did the best that you could, right? And now I get it. And now we can kind of show grace when we didn't have it. Because like, I feel like in the early teens or early 20s, you're kind of just like, man, we went through this and she could have easily have taken the mindset of, we were in shelters and we were displaced. But then she was able to say, but you know what, Mom, I know that you tried and you really made the best out of a bad situation. And I can add it up now. And I'm looking at the comments. I can add it up now and say that we did have more good times than bad. I would say, like, while we're waiting for Ashli to come back, I think she had some technical difficulties, but it's fine. She's worth the wait, y'all. I promise. I have to say that for myself, one of the earliest like seasons that I remember was probably like a shift. Like if we're going back to childhood, probably like around the time that like my parents got divorced and going from like being the baby in a household and then moving in to a new household and sharing my space and stuff like that. I don't think that affected me at all, but I asked her the question specifically to say, we all have that time in our lives that stand out and stick out to you. And you see how she was so easily able to just recall that one moment, because there's a moment, and I encourage you to find that moment that shaped you, that began to shape you. It's usually that first season. So she's back. I'm going to bring her back on the stage. We missed you.
Sorry, I have no idea. I just had to restart everything, of course.
No worries, no worries.
You know how that energy works and want my story out there. It's okay.
They don't want you to be great, girl.
No.
All right. So moving right along, let me look at my time. All right, I want to make sure that I know I'm calculating my baby. So I'm like, she just ate like 7:45. I'm gonna give her like a good hour. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get a little bit dark, but I promise you there's a light at the end of this tunnel.
It's all good. Okay.
Tell me about a season of hopelessness. A season where when you're in it, you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You can't see a way out. But now you have these little lives, right? Because, and as parents, especially as mothers, we kind of just have to grin and bear. And be strong for everybody.
Every day.
You got 8 kids, you got to be strong for all 8 kids and you.
Every day.
Go in a shower, in a closet, in a car, and cry. Those are your areas.
I'm telling, because mom's head, and if you lose it, everybody loses it under you. So you got to keep it together. I mean, I hate the narrative of being like, strong 24/7, but as a mom, it's just what we do. So respect.
So
hopelessness.
Season of hopelessness, ma'am.
Okay, so to parallel it back to my adult life, the first thing that I can think of is after I had my 3 children, I had to leave their father. And was going through some abusive stuff there, and I was completely dependent. So it's like basically I had my 3 children before I was 20. Couldn't stay with mom anymore. And I was pretty much dependent on their father, and that didn't work out. So with that being said, I was staying with a friend, and I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what I was doing with myself anymore. You don't walk into a situation knowing that you won't have any type of support. So I had no idea. I knew I knew I had 3 kids. I knew it was a struggle as a teen mom, but I didn't realize I was going to have to figure it out all by myself. Minus everyone that was important, their father, family, all of that. So I was, when I left him because of the abusive situation, didn't want my kids in that. I was staying with a friend, and then I just realized, like, what's my plan beyond staying with my friend? I don't even know. And honestly, in a moment like that, that's where like kind of faith has no choice but to take over, because honestly, if you don't have that foundation or faith in something, you'll lose it, and there's moms all across the world that, parents in general can't handle the pressure. You got these faces looking at you, and it's like, what are you gonna do? And it got to that point. I couldn't stay with my friend anymore. Their home was they were moving, and I needed somewhere to go. So like completely hopeless though. Like I had no idea. I said a prayer and I went to sleep, and that night I had a random idea or a dream. I don't know. I woke up and I was just like, I'm supposed to be going to West Palm Beach. I don't know what's there or what it is, but I started researching, and lo and behold, there was like a shelter I ended up going to called the Lord's Place. And they put me in a townhome, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. And I was there for months, and was able to get a job and on my feet and all of that. But faith is major. Like, it doesn't really matter to me personally. It doesn't matter what you believe in, but you have to believe in something greater than yourself, because we don't have all the answers. Absolutely not.
Right. I just a random question came into my head, and more so plays to the work that I do, is when did you first let me not assume, have you ever experienced food insecurity? Meaning you didn't know where the next meal was coming from, or for me, it looked like the kids eating and me skipping that meal.
Period.
Yeah, like that's what food insecurity looked like for me. Like, lights is on. We have like 3 packs of noodles, so I'm gonna add some onions to it, jizz it up a little, like
get fancy, creative, exactly.
And I'll skip this one. So did your kids experience food insecurity, and when was that first? When were you first exposed to food insecurity?
I'm gonna just put this out here. I mean, and I don't want to say it like on a pedestal, but I don't think I could ever, I will rob a bank before I ever let my children experience being hunger. And I respectively say that, because that's a battle that people have to fight like every day. But yeah, plenty of days where I convinced myself that I wasn't hungry. Or you ever go so long not eating that you don't even have an appetite no more.
Right.
Like your body's just like, all right, we're not eating then. We're fasting or something.
We're fasting. Okay, she said we're fasting, guys.
Cool.
We're fasting.
Like, gotta put a positive spin on it. So
no, I'm on a diet. I don't need it. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
I'm all the way straight. That water, I'm full. You feel me?
Taste that water? I must have had some extra calories in it. I put a little lemon in it too.
What?
The razzle dazzle, y'all. I got it.
Don't have no mint leaves laying around. See, I'm growing mint leaves too, girl. I'll be throwing that in everything right now.
You see? I'm so proud of you. You sent me a picture of your little garden too, and I'm like, oh my honey.
You know, I had to leave my last little situation.
I know, right when we had set it up. Right when we had set it up.
It's been on my heart since I moved here. Like, even even though it's small and it gives me so much peace though, even beyond like what it does. I'm starting small, but really gardening in itself and growing the little bit of thing, successfully growing. Cause I didn't know what I was doing. So many times I've killed stuff, but now to actually like watch my little cherry tomatoes come in and
You
stuff.
have tomatoes? I know you're south of me. Do you have tomatoes?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, I'm
In a
so
pot.
happy for you.
I
Let the kids
know.
eat
And
them. Let
huh?
them eat them. Let the kids eat them.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have to. I can't eat it all. But I'm really happy to like grow my own something that I can eat. It's like pretty amazing.
Right.
But I bypass. What did you ask me? I'm sorry.
We got into gardening and
Yeah,
food
we
insecurity.
did.
That's usually how it goes in my
Oh,
conversation.
the food insecurity. I mean, that is what it looked like for me. Even growing up, there were times, and that's my earliest memories. I never had. We had days where it's like, damn, mom, we don't want to eat noodles again, or I don't want to make a bologna sandwich. But there were days where I didn't see my mom eat, and that bothered me. I used to bring home like food, or I knew it wasn't a lot of food at home, and I would take food from school, bring it home, like whatever I could and stuff like that. So I mean, it's always been around me, um, in my own as an adult with my children. Um, I didn't have access to like, cause the system's funny like that. I had a little job that was giving me a little something, and I didn't qualify for like the food stamps or it was like very little that I qualified for, so that was gone in like 2 weeks. So those other 2 weeks it was a struggle, and trying to like come together with cash that you don't have because you didn't pay the bills, and then trying to buy, and then when not having access to like bigger. I didn't have a car until I was 23. That's the number.
Ever?
I didn't know. First of all, okay, that's another story. Your girl was afraid to drive. I did not want to drive nowhere with kids. With kids, you see, I had all my kids before 20. I did not get my license till I was 23. I didn't have a car. Didn't want a car. I did everything on foot or by the bus. But with that being
With
said,
the
that made
three kids? He was on the bus with the three kids?
double stroller and all, girl, in South Florida. That's why I
Well,
was
and
this big.
those buses are unpredictable in South Florida. Like here, you can set a bus by your watch. Like it's really great public transit. Florida, I mean, they may show up, they may not.
They may not. Don't mess around and miss that bus walking. It's like you waiting 45 minutes. Like why? But and rude too. I've been left because I was taking too long with my stroller. Instead of helping me, the man left me. But yeah. But with that being said, without having transportation like that, it made access to healthy food even more ridiculous. So end up taking a little $5-10 I have and buying stuff from the corner store for the night or whatever the case is.
You see?
So,
You see? And let me just ask you, just for shits and giggles. Did they have fresh fruits and vegetables at the corner store?
it's very rare. No, not
Okay.
the corner stores that I had access to. Like whoever's watching from South Florida, like I lived in Lauderhill in what? I lived in Deep Side and Shallow Side, but anybody knows Shallow Side, like 19th Street, the corner stores over there. I mean, ain't no fresh fruit in there.
They got all the wraps though. They got all the flavors of the Dutchess. They got all the flavors of the Black and Milds. You can buy a Lucy.
New shipments every day, honey.
You ain't get no lettuce. Okay.
Listen, you can get you a sandwich in there some way. I don't know, or some fried chicken in the back. But yeah, no, nothing fresh. Nothing fresh. So
nothing healthy, I'm sure. That was, I had to segue into that because that's kind of my deal. But so we talked about a season of where you could have been hopeless. I don't think you really were hopeless because you said you had tapped into that faith.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. I think I always have,
but it's gonna work.
Correct, and I've always had that in me though. Like, shout out to my mom again because it was the narrative in which I had to go by as an adult. Like I never, even though things were bad, a lot of the time, I never see my mom break. I know she probably had her moments, But at no point did I ever feel like, you know what, I'm just not doing this no more, or I give up, or like I it's just really not in me. So maybe I don't think maybe I've ever reached a complete level of hopelessness. Thank you, Jesus.
Definitely. So you went over to, what did you say, the Lord's place?
Yeah, that's what it was called. I called, the devil be working. So I called them. They were like, we're full. We ain't got no room. We could put you on a wait list. And that was what all of them would say. Wait list, like a wait list
Where
for
are you
shelter.
supposed to wait? Where did they expect you to wait?
And that's the whole jip with it all. If you can wait, then you're not home. And it's to them, if you have somewhere to wait, you're not homeless. And I kind of get their logic too. So then someone told me one day, I had an officer friend. He was like, if you show up, they can't turn you away with small children. They either have to find somewhere to place you, or they have the funds to put you in a hotel, period. Like, don't think that, like, so that's exactly what I did. But I didn't do it in Broward because Broward was just too shut out for me. I was like, I'm going to go where my heart said go. And I went all the way to Palm Beach, like 40 minutes away.
How did you drive at this point? Because I a lot of hopefully our viewers know at this point that I'm from South Florida, and Broward to Palm Beach on a bus is a little different. So
very different.
How did you get there? And I'm sure you guys had things, right? You had like clothes and like.
Girl, I had one bag of clothes, my stroller, and my kids, and my friend that I was staying with. Much love to them. It was so hard for her. I'm not gonna say their name, but it was so hard I had to convince them to drop me off because they were like, "No, we're not doing that. Like, we're not dropping you off." I'm like, "Listen, just drop me off. If things don't work out how I want them to or need them to, then I'll call you back. Like, just don't go far." And yeah, they drove me all the way up there. They just trusted that I knew what I was doing, and I'm grateful for that because it sounds real crazy, but sometimes you got to do outlandish things in order to get to where you need to be. So yeah, I showed up like 30 minutes before they were closing, and it was so cute because they have an office and a cafe, and their cafe, all they do is feed homeless people all day. You can come in there like a real cafe. It's like you don't even know that people aren't paying, but that's how like real. It's not like a soup kitchen. You wait to be seated. You have you have a waiter and all of that.
It's not like an undignified experience.
Exactly. They keep everything very top notch, so you don't lose that dignity in the process. You have so much to go through, and then they're also their belief is like the first thing they want to do when you're there is feed you, because everything after that can be figured out. But it's hard to do anything when you're hungry, like to kind of bring it full circle. So before we had any conversation about what I was going through or how I got to where I was, they just brought me and the kids, they brought me and the kids a menu. They picked out all the stuff that they wanted to eat. And then after the fact, the kids played and they heard my story. They put me in a motel for one night called the Queen's Lodge. And that was always, it was just the irony behind everything just going on. Like, I knew I had to go off of that faith because it was just meant to be. The motel was called the Queen's Lodge. Like, at the time, I was real big on calling myself queen. So I just felt like at home, like I felt like I was doing what God told me to do. And it was just little confirmations. But after that one night, okay, mamas. After that, she's like,
I want to talk.
Right.
She's not hungry. She just wants in on the conversation.
I'm telling you. So, yeah, after that night, I met with another counselor lady, and that's when they put me in the townhome. But very humbling experience, beautiful people, but just followed my heart, man, and kind of and from there, everything, it's still, there was bumps in the road after that, but it definitely taught me Just to like even still, as simple as the message is just like never give up. Like it's always, for me, it's just always a plan or a way. And
Yeah.
it was an amazing experience, and I'm happy that I was able to um with dignity bring my children through that, because even now with them being 12, 13, 14, they don't remember any of like the struggle behind that, which is always the blessing that us moms want for our kids. You don't want them to remember.
You want to shield them. You want to shield them. You move the camera, so you might want to move us just a little closer. There,
There you go.
there we go. This ain't that type of show,
please, y'all.
But what I did want to ask you is, when you went to that shelter, completely on faith, right?
Yes.
Like, how much money did you have in your pocket? Did you have a job?
I had no job. I maybe had like $50. Literally. Nothing. I had nothing. Nessa, I had nothing. Like I'm like, damn, did I have a cell phone?
That's what I was just gonna ask you. Did you have that was before Obamacare phones and stuff like that. So like
definitely. I'm talking this had to be like, and it was such a sad time for me. I even throughout all of that and having that hope and faith, I went through a dark depression still. I was extremely isolated from my peers. This was 2009. Honestly, this was like I left high school in 08. I was supposed to walk with the 09 class, but I got my GED in 08 and just called it a day because I had the kids. But watching my friends walk, and I'm literally pushing around a double stroller with 3 kids and in a shelter, like that literally was my reality. And I lost so many friends in the process, not by anyone else's own fault, but I just couldn't even bring myself to be around anyone because my experience was so depressing that I was just like, I don't even want to be around anyone. So it's interesting to think back how I persevered all still while like being extremely depressed.
Would you use broken as a term that you've ever felt?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you seem pretty whole to me now.
Thank you. I'm working on it. I don't really feel like I'll ever reach a level of wholeness. I think that I was listening to Ayanla the other day, and she said and I feel the same. You're whole when you die. When we leave this earth, that's when we finally are whole and have come full circle. But in between time, life is all like an ongoing process of healing and growth and it's a cycle. It's never like something that you just hit one day and you're like this monarch of I'm here now. Like, no, that's when you serve no purpose here, I guess, anymore.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna give us a little upbeat, we don't depress our viewers. So tell me about a season of growth. Where you're at this point, you are in the townhouse maybe, or whenever your season of growth started, and you're like, it's time to rebuild.
Moving from South Florida, honestly, for me was
me too, child.
That was a step up the ladder. Like before then, I feel like my growth was it's happened a lot since 2010. But before I moved, it still was like plateaued in a sense. Yeah, I had a job. Yeah, I could keep a roof over my kid's head, but I was still just like barely had my head above water in South Florida. Like it's extremely, at least for me, I'm only speaking for myself. But for me, it was extremely hard to raise my family in that environment in Broward County. And so I had prayed many a days. Oh, I didn't know. I'm from New Jersey too, originally. At this point, I've spent equal parts of my life in South Florida and Jersey. So to me, Florida's still home, but I ain't going back to Jersey because that ain't no better. So I didn't know. I just knew I couldn't be in South Florida anymore. Like I don't know. So I was extremely happy to kind of put my foot out there on faith and just know that I have it in me to survive anywhere that I go. That's how I feel like I've been through so much. It doesn't scare me to start over somewhere else. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Nothing worse than what you've gone through. So why not? And, but coming here was definitely a big step for my family. It was the most selfless, I think, decision that I've made, for all of our sake. Kind of changed for the better for everyone. My kids do better in school here. They got to experience something. And don't get me wrong, we love South Florida, but that for us, that's just gonna be vacation for now. Like I'd rather go there to enjoy it and not struggle there. So but moving here was just a big step, and I was able to kind of separate myself from any drama in history that I have there, and just start anew. I got my associate's degree last year. I came here and got to it, man. Like I honestly did. I have an amazing partner that kind of like has held me down, so I was able to go to school full time, and then I selfishly knew that I've only wanted one position with this school system, and then I got it. So like I'm still growing, but I just know that was the step, man. That I had to like get out of there to see something different and to know that I can thrive elsewhere. And but all my family's there, so sometimes I feel like those ties and stuff make you feel like you have to like make it work where you are. But if I could get my whole family out of South Florida, I would. No disrespect though. Like
I feel the same way. Like I moved, that I moved here. I don't know if you moved before me or after me. I think you moved before me. I moved in 2016. I'm not sure when you moved.
17.
Okay, so you moved after me. And for me, it was that I'd never like known anything different besides like that atmosphere, and it's different. Like it's very different. Like and you live still, I would say, in the South, right? But like growing up with such racial disparities, even though we lived in a good neighborhood, like when we were coming up, Jay knows if we and our white friends went out, we were put on the ground by police and not them. I was the only Black person in my class coming up, and just seeing how there was something on Twitter that says, when was the first time you were called the N-word? And I was like, by a police officer when I was like in elementary school, those types of things. And when I had kids, now I had become resilient. My neighbor flew his Confederate flag in his car all the time. Living in a white neighborhood because our parents did well for themselves. They thought it was a come up, but for us it was like, now you're introducing us to, I would have rather stayed in Lauderhill where there was Black folks.
Okay. Trust me, I always say people try and down it, but I've always felt protected in the hood, period.
Yeah. So we moved out the hood, and they tried to give us a better life, but exposed us to these gaping disparities. And that's when we like first realized, oh, we're not white. Like, not that we thought we were white, but that there's a difference, and you can't do the same things. How many times that we were, literally with people of different races, and we would be the target. Just living, everybody knows Coral Springs, that's people move out of Coral Springs just because of that. But, so when I had kids, now I have Black boys, and you have Black boys. Now it changes, because we were there for Trayvon Martin. And I almost think, and I want to get your opinion on this, because I almost feel when I moved up here and saw how outraged Black people were about current events and things like that, I'm thinking, this has happened in the South for a very long time. And it didn't make the news, and it didn't do all this stuff because we've been so desensitized to brutality and just racial divide that it kind of took me back. We almost have the mentality of the first instincts of, when a police officer comes, you put your hands on the dashboard, you give them your ID. Like, that's how we were raised up, raised in such a racially divided place.
Right.
But up here, I fell in love with it because Black people were doing well here. They had a voice here. And I saw Black men in trench coats. I'll never forget that. Not only that this is Chocolate City, but
I'm like, what kind of trench coats, girl? Where at? No,
not that type of trench coat. But like they were in suits with the long coats, and they were dapper. And I want my boys to grow up and be that. And
absolutely.
They were educated. Like, I feel like in South Florida growing up, college was an option, but you could go to community college, you could just get a job. Like, I felt like, I always tell people, I felt like I was on vacation my entire life till I moved up here. But up here, I just felt like the educational system was, no, you're going to college. It's just a matter of which one are you going to.
Absolutely.
And so I wanted my Black boys to be a part of that. And so, but it did take a leap of faith. It definitely did. And not to say that they weren't going to have success, in South Florida. I just, for me in my situation, I felt like that was the best thing for us.
Right.
And did you experience like homesickness? Like, what was your first experience? Like, you just moved out of, well, I guess, you had moved a couple times.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about me. Like, I pretty much have labeled myself a nomad because I've moved around my whole life. I'm actually quite uncomfortable. After like 3-4 years in one spot, I'm like, what's next? Because nowhere really has always felt like, oh, this is home for me. I live here in Greensboro and love it for the same reasons. There's a lot of hey, I know y'all know I'm on this interview. Sorry, but the Black community here, they're leaders here, and like you said, and I wanted that. I want that for my children, and so, but I don't know, homesickness, to be honest, not really.
No. Because home had become where your kids were, right? Because it's like, I'm okay taking this one bag. As long as I got my kids in my double stroller, I'm straight.
Right. Like, the only thing is, like, after a while, it's like, oh, I miss my mom. Like, I more so miss a person or, my family more so than the place. The only, the only and worst thing for us is that right now we're 3 hours from the beach. So when we moved here, the first thing my son said was, what type of world has no beach? I'm like, we're in the same world, son.
For me, that was one of the things that I didn't expect. I felt so out of place growing up, 20 minutes from the ocean my entire life. I felt so out of place that I would just go and find water just to like hear it. I didn't expect that at all. Nobody tells you these things about moving out of Florida.
And being a single mom or being a broke single mom, that was my go-to. Like, if I can't go wrong taking them to the beach, period. Even with no car, it took me one bus trip right to the beach. So that was frustrating. But then that also just led me to explore all the other free things to do here that aren't available in South Florida. And
resourceful, right? Like, incredibly resourceful, I'm sure. So back to seasons. Tell me about the season that you're in right now. Look at the smile.
Right now I'm in a beautiful space, and I'm so grateful to be able to say that, especially 4 weeks postpartum because I experienced baby blues and postpartum depression as well, like millions of women do. And it's tough right after you have a baby. Shout out to my grandmother. My grandmother flew in and stayed here for a month solid, and she almost got me a bell to just ding if I needed her for anything. I think that played a role, and because all I've had to focus on is just me. Of course, my kids are always here and stuff, but they're old enough to kind of hold things down. But collectively, including my children and my partner, my grandmother who came, everyone has given me like kind of the space and support at the same time that I've needed to kind of adjust with a new baby. I didn't even realize how beautiful this would be. Like I was excited once I realized, like, of course, first I was like, oh shit. But
because your kids were older. Now you're like, I'm doing this.
Listen, you already know I was on a countdown, kind of, respect to my kids. I love them, but I've been a mom since 17. So I've been like, ooh, child, only got like 4 or 5 years left. And I done hit the reset button. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I done to myself? But
18 more years. But she's worth it. She's adorable.
Thank you. And I'm just so blessed. I don't even know what to say. Like I feel energized. I don't really have any sadness in me. I'm grateful that I have a job that I can go back to when I'm done with this, taking my leave. I'm just in a space that I've never been able to embrace, and that's just all that really I'm trying to do right now. Like I'm growing my own little stuff in the backyard. Like I didn't have time for that. Like,
yeah, it's different this time around, and I'm so grateful that you got to experience that. Like having my kids back to back, I wasn't able to enjoy my pregnancies. It was like a struggle. It was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, oh my gosh, I'm in a bad situation. It's an unhealthy relationship. And here we are again. And then when I had my daughter, it was like, oh, this is nice.
It can be nice,
healthy pregnancy. Look at
if
this.
you're given the space, right, and stuff to do it, it can be beautiful. And I think every woman deserves to find the beauty in it because pregnancy is a struggle, period. Before, after, it's a struggle, but to be able to kind of embrace, first of all, just like how divine the whole moment is, and that it's brief though, and that's why I'm really grateful to okay, mommies. All right.
Yeah, yes, for everyone. This is our 3H table talk baby. And she is such a little function. She is 4 weeks old. Okay, so amazing.
Yep. Just turned a month yesterday. So yeah, I like even waking up at 2 a.m, like for the first 10 seconds, I'm like, really? But then I'm like, and then I laugh and I find joy in it, even though I'm tired. I'm like, what else do I have to, like, I can go back to sleep in a little while. I'm really grateful. I don't have to worry about food, things like that. That stuff makes you not be in the moment, and it's so important to be in the moment, in the present.
Awesome. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk to you about I saw you in these streets, girl, when
oh yes ma'am
had the tragedy of George Floyd, and in the middle of a pandemic, a Panasonic, a pandemic, whatever you want to call it. I saw you, and I saw you out there with the fight. Was that your first entry into like advocacy work or organizing, protesting? Talk to me about how you and I knew you were doing a little bit of work with farmers markets too. So tell me a little bit about your community work.
Thank you. That was my first time protesting. That was my first time I was so passionate about it too. Like, because it really I'm always passionate about our people's rights, period. But something was just different in me last year, and I remember going downtown to to my local police station. Like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm going down there to speak my mind because that's how I feel. And when I showed up, it was very early in my city, at least, because this is happening everywhere simultaneously. And I got there and it was like 10 people, and to just like watch it grow into like a whole like thousands, and just I don't know. I have, like you said, I have boys and sons, and um I don't even trust I don't trust the fact that they can advocate for themselves. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I was so passionate. The fact that they can't even barely go out there and speak out for themselves or protect themselves. It's the mother in me, it's the sister in me. It's like um I that's like, as mom, maybe it's the mom in me still. I'm like, I feel like I have to go do something because they're just gonna keep killing our boys like that. I feel like for every life they take, I feel like it can be or is one of my own.
Yeah.
So but my community work on a personal level, um I got my degree in early childhood education. I'm extremely passionate just about advocating for early literacy and just everything early childhood, because a lot of people overlook how important this stage is, especially when it comes to educating our kids and stuff. Um, it's an undervalued and underfunded sector, and so I'm big on that. And two, for teen moms, period. So like I also trained to become a doula. um I did that like the year before last year, and COVID kind of like put a halt to it. But as a teen mom, I knew that I wasn't really like supported. You're pretty, not to say everyone, but you're in a weird position because you get treated like a child having a child, and your rights really aren't respected, I feel like, as a teen mom. So to kind of help young moms navigate that process and help them understand their rights during the process and support them, it was really important to me because that's just who I am.
You make my heart go boom boom.
Aww.
Just because you are the living testimony for the work that I do. Like, literally came up from nothing, okay? And you had all of this in you, but because you had things going on, again, that headspace I was talking about, like, we all have a heart and a mind to advocate about what we connect with. But we can't talk to people about advocating if they can't feed themselves, if they don't have a roof over their head, like if they're being ostracized for, being pregnant at a certain age, and then to see that she was able to come through everything. Now she's stable. Now she has less worries, and can take the lessons of the seasons that she's been through and now give back. And we say give back, but it really is advocacy. It's at teaching those girls that you work with to advocate for themselves, telling them that there are rights, that they are entitled to rights, instead of living in a state of like shame. Even at 20 years old, they were still shaming me for having kids. I'm like, I'm an old 20, like
Absolutely.
like, out of wedlock, like, like, you might as well just branded me. But yeah, man, the things we can do when we have the things that we need. And I think that's your story, for real.
It's important to, in all of our lessons, for all of us, I just hope anybody can take that away from, like, it's important to kind of just, somebody always needs that knowledge that you have too. Like, unintentionally, we selfishly keep knowledge like that to ourselves, and how to maneuver and how to be resourceful. And and it's meant to be shared. It's meant to be passed on, you know, and that's
so that's my
important.
next question is about your story, because like I was nervous to ask you questions, and I was just like, because I know my experience, like I tell this people all the time, like I definitely sought help. I have a life coach. We went through training on how to tell my story because I wasn't with it.
Right.
Until you realize, like I feel like you caught on way before I did, that people had something to gain from you telling your story. Like you are the most unashamed, unabashed person. Like you're like, oh, you want to know how was that for you? Like, is this being able to tell what you
I've been like that forever too, Nessa. Like I remember in school as a kid, like I was always taught to really not look like what you're going through, you know? So even though I was always like a chipper girl in school, straight A's, I would go home to no home or no shelter. I mean, or to a shelter, or go home to no lights or no food and stuff like that. So like I've always had this thing where I wouldn't call myself popular, but I've always connected to people wherever I went, and I think that's just always been the thing. I connect to people because like I always feel like I have to, not that I have to, but I always feel compelled to share something about myself when I'm around others, because I feel like people are a lot more connected than they think they are, or people look at each other or me and make an assumption, and it's just very interesting to kind of throw things out there like that, because as soon as you do that, you give the next person the space. Like I don't know, I've always connected to people that way. Like they're like, wow, you're going through stuff like that, and then it just makes them open up and you know talk about their experience, or make them feel like it's, at least it's not just them. A lot of kids, especially kids, a lot of kids are going through all types of stuff and would never like have the audacity to say what they're going through, because they don't really assume that there's other kids going through stuff like that right now. Like, so I've been that way since a child, and that's my own personal way to connect to people, because I don't think I'd be a people person without it. That's the only way I know how to connect to people, is by like sharing stuff
let me tell you what I've
that
been
I go through. Yes.
exactly.
Like if you notice, like comedians, the most, I think the best comedians, that's how they make it. They literally talk about their lives. They make jokes out of their lives. So to me, it's a similar thing. That's just how I connect, because I just feel like, yeah, it's a humbling connection.
Absolutely.
You're hurting my boobs, child.
And the sacrifices of your body that you had to make. But like curveball question, okay,
Sure.
is what does your healing journey kind of look like? Like you're sharing people and you're putting so much of yourself out to help other people. Have you healed from your experiences? Is that something you actively do? Like, how do you work on your own mental health?
Well, first of all, I think therapy is important. If you feel like you need it, get it. I feel like because I definitely have a therapist myself, and in a lot of ways, she kind of just helps me. I mean, I think therapists do different things depends on what you need, but girl, she done got me hot and bothered now. But what's the question again? I'm sorry.
Healing. So you're saying like for you, what your therapist does for you?
Okay, so she just kind of helps me. A lot of the times I become like scatterbrained, and but my journey right now looks like going to therapy twice a month, kind of just to kind of regroup, assess things, because things in my life move like this.
Yeah.
Major events, and sometimes I don't even process them by the time they're here.
Mm-hmm.
Growth, like for me, healing is just an everyday process. Like things happen, and it's all in how I approach a situation, which for me assesses if I am actively, growing or not. Or because when I moved here, girl, I was a hot ass mess for like a year. Like I didn't realize it. Like I was off the chain because I was talking to someone earlier. I said it. I am so used to being so defensive, so on guard. So like you heard of like the fight or flight response. Like that's me. Like I either like literally want to fight in a situation or I don't want to deal with it. Like I didn't have a healthy way of communicating because honestly, I never was taught to, or I never had, and no one around me communicates properly or knows how to. So having a partner that, not to say that he's normal, but he has different experiences and communication is his strong thing. So he kind of would just stare at me and let me get it out.
And just, are you done?
Yeah, like pretty much. And after enough of those moments, it gave me the time to see like where I can like correct just some of those behaviors in a sense, because like I would just freak out. I'd feel like everything is against me. I didn't know how to deal with any type of confrontational nothing, or I'm not dealing with it, period. I'm grown.
Fighting or I'm leaving. Like that was it. But I'm glad that you were able to, and it seems like you're still on that journey. And I do think that part of your mental health, something that keeps you or pours into you is pouring into others. Like we discount that. Like people think, oh, well, you're giving everything to anyone else. When are you going to have time for you? I get that a lot. But this is one of my values is pouring into others. And that also then fulfills me. So I think that might be something that's going on with you too. I'm going to close it out, but I'm going to just give you an opportunity to say, if you could go back to, I know, right? She's like, Mom, we're ready. We're ready.
Hold on, let me see if I can find her pacifier. I just seen her.
Did it fall into the couch? Real life.
Probably. Real life here.
I'm going to just go to our audience and say, if you guys have any questions for Ashli, now is the time to put them into the chat. And I hope you guys are enjoying our session. There's a lot to be learned here. There's a lot. And I hope that I hope we're pouring into you guys this evening. For sure. For sure. So we're waiting for, she's a princess already. She's got a lot of demands.
Extremely demanding.
She's got a lot of demands at 4 weeks old, and I respect her, I respect it.
No, for real. When you asked me to do this, I had to consult her, and she was like, this was not in the schedule, but I'll deal.
This was not in the schedule. Sounds like my daughter.
She told me that you had told me.
All right. So if you could go back to 17-year-old you with all of the knowledge you have now, what advice would you give that girl? What would you say to her?
What would I say to her? Oh, excuse me, I'm on an interview. Y'all getting on my nerves now. So what would I tell 17-year-old me? Take your time. Like, don't be afraid of failure, because failure is important. Trust kind of like trust my instincts. I wouldn't change anything though. Like I wouldn't say anything to want to change anything, because then that would change where I'm at now. And I think I'm in a beautiful space right now. But I definitely would say things to kind of boost my confidence up and stuff, and not look for validation and for myself and others.
No validation. Yeah.
Because I think that's major, especially as like a teenage girl. coming from a broken home, that's what a lot of us or them or I was seeking validation.
Yeah, definitely. Because you're looking around and you're like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? You know?
Somebody tell me something, like, and you're just trying to figure everything out on your own. You haven't really no role models, no support. Anybody that would and then that's where the problem resolved. Anybody that would kind of validate what I was doing, you kind of just roll with them, or you feel it's a false sense of validation when you kind of have to have that belief in yourself, which I didn't have at the time. So that's what I would tell myself.
We have a few questions.
Oh, we do.
But I would say, if I could go back to that girl, that 17-year-old girl that I met on the couch that day, if I could go back in time, I would say to you, and say to you now as an adult, one, I love everything about you. Everything you've become. I've watched your journey and you inspire me. Forget the audience, forget table talk. You are an inspiration. Like, I will forever be here for you. Forever. Pick up the phone. I will be there. I may have to butter you up like I had to earlier this week. I've been a bad baby mama.
But I had lost you there for a second.
Never. You hear me? Never. Okay. I just would say that never underestimate what you already have in you. And I wish I could go back to 17-year-old you and say everything you need to be everything you're supposed to be and is meant for you is already inside of you. And even to you now at this point, every dream you have, everything that God has placed in you, you have everything you need right here at home. And just keep my baby fed, keep my baby good, but you're doing the damn thing, girl. And I just love you so much. I do.
Thank you, Nessa. It really, really means a lot.
Okay, so let me pull up my questions now. All right. We first have, this is the first one I saw. I may be missing some. Robert Allen says, when self-growth is the goal, how long did it take for you to trust your own instincts? You know this person?
I have no idea. No. I may know him. No, let me stop. I know him. When self-growth is the goal, how long did it take for me to trust my own instincts? I think that it was instinctual, so it didn't really take me long to trust my own instincts in a sense. Like given that I can only rely on self, and not to say that it's right every step of the way, and that's a part of growth in itself. So, but I've always trusted my own instincts, no one else's really. And thank God for that. So yeah, it didn't take me long. Okay.
Awesome. All right. I got one more, and I know my baby wants to go and have you all to herself. Bear with me, boo. Bear with me. Okay. So this is from Jay, and it's I want to know too. What's next? Like, the sky's the limit for you, my friend. What is next? What's the goal? Tell me your dreams, your desires.
Like, they're so grand, really. And y'all know I'm a
princess. You're supposed to be.
I'm a princess in my head, so like I have big plans. What's in the future? So this is in the future, y'all. Oh,
are we doing the Lion King?
Yes. Don't be mad at me. I'm sorry. And we can make plans for days, but rarely do they go our way, So, I mean, I'm just going to be enjoying raising her. Like, I do desire to open my own business. I have an interesting business idea. I don't know if I'm ready to throw it out there.
No pressure. No pressure.
But yeah, I desire to run my own business. It is in childcare, but it's kind of unique in itself. Oh, don't yell at me. Yell at Vanessa.
You can yell at me. It's fine. Look at the cute face. Oh, my ovaries.
Oh my goodness, she's
No,
so funny.
no.
She's like, where's she at? Where is she?
I'm coming.
Between that and just like trying to make more memories with my kids, man. My older kids, like they only got like 5 years left before they're really not. Shoot, they probably won't want to be in my face in the next 2 years. Like I've entered the teenage journey with them, and I'm just trying to like enjoy my
Very
family,
funny.
be at peace. Like I want to travel more. I love traveling with my kids too. Is that weird?
No, I'm getting into that. Like I've been waiting my whole life because everybody's like, you don't travel with your kids. And now I'm at that point where I'm like, you know what, guys? I'm gonna stop waiting for someone to travel with or whatever. And let's just go. Let's just go.
And not that I've done a lot of trips with people, but when me and the kids went back home last year together and we took our cat, like who brings a cat on a vacation? When I tell y'all these folks were like, we've had to be the first person to travel with a cat. Everybody was mesmerized. Is that a cat? Y'all brought a cat on the plane? Yeah, we did. But I had the best time with my kids. Like that's my other message to parents. Like enjoy your kids. Like I know it's easy to get caught up. Am I on the camera? I'm not.
No,
I don't have no boobs on the camera.
I will tell you. Protect our boobs, girl. Protect our boobs. Okay.
But yeah, like I just plan on enjoying the kids as much as I can, and in the process trying to like I want to say something cool like I'm gonna stack my bread and blah blah blah, but God knows like what am I stacking with all these kids? Like, but I'm gonna do what I can and enjoy my time in the process. Like
Beautiful.
Life is precious, so I don't like making solid plans.
I got you. And with kids, it's hard too, but enjoy it. And now you get to make memories because you're not worrying about like survival and all of these different things.
And that's the important part. I feel like, and I don't feel like that no more. Like I did guilt trip myself for many years, feeling like I missed out, like on my own childhood. My kids missed out on a better childhood because of what I couldn't do. But I've moved past having those feelings as well. Like I am where I am now to be able to do what I can. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what I can now and just enjoy it while I can.
I love it. And I love you. And I know everybody else loves you. And thank you. This has been an amazing final episode. This is it. You're the last.
What an honor. Like
you are the last.
I can't believe it.
We won't be back till 2022.
Oh my
I know. So this was perfect. This was perfect. And I love everything. Don't fix your face. Fix your face. I don't know if she is frozen or if she's just able to keep her face in such a way. Can we all just look at what Ash looks like right now and just save it? There we go. Oh, there you go. She's back. I was clowning you because your face was stuck in the.
Am I back?
You're back.
Oh my God. That's terrible.
No, you're good. We can edit that part out.
Yo,
but
I'm like, yeah, let me not throw any. I'll stay away from AT&T.
Oh.
I thought I was doing something to Spectrum. I'm leaving y'all. I left them like last month.
No, Spectrum ain't no better, child. Spectrum ain't no better.
No, they're not. But it's like I just knew I was going to something better. It's like, nah, could have just stayed where I was for the same craziness. Anyways,
I want to say thank you. You have been an amazing guest, and she held out for most of the time. She said her little piece. We got her on audio, so we got to put her in the credits, and the kids behaved, and you were phenomenal. And I'm not even going to say it's brave for you sharing your story because this is something that you do. This is part of your ministry, right? Is sharing your story. But I got all lovey-dovey with you. I'm not going to do that again, but you know how I feel about you, girl.
No, I almost had the real tear. They almost fell. They was there. They almost fell.
G tier, get back in there. But yeah, so thank you for joining me. I'm if you want to say goodbye to everybody else, I'm going to have you go backstage, but stick around though. Don't go anywhere. Okay.
Sure. No, thank you all. Thank you, first of all, for having me. I'm extremely blessed to be able to share my story. If it can help with anyone's healing process or journey, that is amazing to me. And thank you for everyone for tuning in. And this is beautiful what you do, Vanessa. It truly is. Your work is invaluable and phenomenal, like all of your work, truthfully. And I'm constantly inspired.
I'm glad I can be a blessing to you. And if you guys, let me drop I wish like last night I was like, I need the little sound, the boom, 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 loving our panelists, follow Ash on social media. She already has a huge following, so it's fine. Like just go there for the beautiful artwork.
Huge is a stretch, but thank you.
It's not a stretch. I have like 200 people following me on my personal Instagram account. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I had to fight for every follower that I have on
You following me yet?
Yeah, exactly. Straight, you gotta buck up on them, you know. All right, my love. So I'm gonna everybody say thank you to Ashli and for my beautiful baby.
Thank you.
Yes, too. We should have put her on the flyer. That's what we should have done.
Should have. I told PJ, I'm like, you already know she's gonna make a debut. I knew it. Because listen, here, this is not my life anymore. Bye, guys.
So I want to just say thank you to everybody who came out. Again, this is our season finale, and we won't be back in this format until 2022, just because we're farmers at the beginning and end of the day. And so the growing season is coming up quickly, and we are going to be feeding people so that they can have the same story as Ashli. If we can feed our community, they can get that room to be able to make a plan to get out of their situations. I want to remind everybody that while we won't be back for Table Talk, and we gave our last talk, I taught my last class on Tuesday. That was really great. It was on soil bed and preparation. Those replays will be available on our resource page until Saturday, May 1st. So if you haven't caught up on all of your gardening education, you can do that on our website. We have a fantastic event coming up. It is something that is really going to highlight the resiliency of people in Montgomery County, and how they were able to take the food system into their own hands during the pandemic and beyond. We want to see your ugly gardens, your pretty gardens, your kitchen gardens, your backyard gardens, your patio gardens, your front lawn gardens. We want to see any way that you are taking the food system into your own hands. And we're going to kick that off with a 3-day, absolutely free conference. I will be teaching, and joining me will be educators from all over the DC area, teaching people who have never grown anything before, would like to learn to start growing some things. Free 3-day conference, full of educational opportunities, full of networking opportunities. We're even, if you're in the area, giving out free grow bags and plant starts. So we do most of the work for you. All you need to do is harvest lessons, hopefully harvest a little bit of fruit, and more information will be coming on that. But more importantly, guys, I'm going to just make my head super big for a second. I know. But my forehead's covered. I want to just take this time and say thank you for joining me this year on my journey of figuring this whole thing, how to be an advocate during the pandemic. Thank you for joining us on Table Talk and helping us to create and curate spaces where we can help our community grow. I feel like the way that we've been divided is how we've seen the fall in our community. And just that word community, having community, being in community with one another. The first way that brings division into this community, it just opens the door for all types of problems in the Black community. And so the first way that we get back on our feet is to have community, to have conversations like this, to create spaces like this, to make friends and network in spaces like this. And I'm honored that you all trusted me to be the steward of that community building activity. But I did not do this alone. I definitely have a team. I have a group of ladies who I am going to bring up to the stage, who you guys see them all the time. They're always in the comments. They rock with me. They stay afterwards. And I tell you, after every single session, we meet and we say, how can we do better? Did we teach the people something? Did they learn something? What can we bring them next time? This is all about you. And I got to tell you, we all volunteer our time and we all work full-time jobs. We volunteer our time because we believe in something greater. And these ladies are my longtime friends. Most importantly, now they have decided to believe in my dream with me. I was and still am the crazy plant lady. And I've been talking to them about all these things for the longest, and they've stuck with me. They haven't committed me. They've tried a few interventions when the Home Depot trips and the Amazon things got out of control, but that's what they're supposed to do. But they decided to really devote their time, and they didn't have to my dream, and they've made it a dream of their own as well, and they didn't have to. So to bring up to the stage the ladies who are so comfortable in the background, I would like to formally introduce you guys to my girls, the everything behind Homestead Hustle and Healing. Jay of J Alexandria Services. She does all of our moderations through her brand. She does social media for us. She is just amazing. Then our back office guru, Gina, she keeps my money straight. She keeps admin straight. It may or may not have been me who emailed you back, honestly. She tells me where I'm supposed to be. She organizes everything for me. She makes this absolutely possible. Ladies, welcome to the stage.
I did not expect this to.
Did you like it? You like my little spiel?
Peach, you knew this was going to happen?
Birthday gift this year.
That was
Say
so
hi
sweet.
to the people. They only see your names most of the time, and your plugs, your shameless plugs in the comments. But thank you guys. I hope I say this enough. I feel like I could definitely say it more. But y'all are the best. Y'all are just absolutely amazing. J Alexandria Services, y'all need to book them. They might be booked out, so you need to hurry up and make sure that you get on board with her. And what is that? What is that? That's why
the Blake Shelton point.
They don't know how to act.
That's why I say in the back.
but a Homestead Hustle and Healing could not run without them, and we're not even in the same states. All three of us are in 3 different states, but we still make it happen. And not only make it happen online, they help with the local initiatives here in Maryland. So they're in all the meetings. They're taking notes. They are absolutely with it. So thank you, ladies. How has Table Talk Season 1 been for you guys?
Fun.
It's fun.
I know that face. Can you not give me that face? Give me
No,
Oh, okay.
It's been fun. It's
it has been a lot of fun.
How did you feel when I was like in the basement and like, yo, this is what we're gonna do? Tell me, please.
I'm like how?
That was the thing.
I run they're my sounding board, so I call it odd hours and I'd be like, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it for the people.
Literally. That's all true. And you asked us everything, and we're
emails, software.
How do we do this?
Group chats, emails.
Can I tell you that we didn't know what we were doing, y'all? He always said we're gonna come out with a book called Fake It Till You Make It, because literally we had a plan, an idea, and no idea how to do it. no idea. Like even this software, if you look at our little clip we played at the beginning, we come a long way.
A long way.
Like the first episode of Table Talk, you couldn't even hear me. Like my microphone didn't work. You know how many times my laptop has died in the middle of this?
Literally, like
it's literally dead.
It has been
done.
Struggle. It has been a struggle, but now next year we gonna have it together. Okay?
Oh, what volunteers? Where you at?
Okay, so we need volunteers. There
I'm about to put that back. Put that back in the chat. I got it.
There you go. We need volunteers. The three of us can't do it forever. It's just gonna get bigger and it's gonna get better. So if you'd like to volunteer, again, you don't need to be in the state. You don't need to be in the county. Fill out the form. Gina is dropping the link because she's amazing. And you guys can go ahead and fill out the form. We will be in touch with you, whatever skills you have. And shameless plug, tomorrow I'm going to be on a panel talking about racial injustice and food disparities with the Montgomery County Food Council. If you guys could drop the link tree, I believe that link is in there. Come check your girl out. For once, I'm not hosting. But thank you, ladies. Thank you, Jay. Drop your company in there.
I dropped Jay already.
Oh, Gina already dropped it for me.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
So hear me out, y'all, and hear me out, audience members, and anybody else who is watching on a replay. We don't ask. We do this 100%. Give our time, talent, energies. This is our ministry. What I am going to ask, though, is we have the opportunity to feed many thousands of families in education, and we have the opportunity to set up families with opportunities to grow their own food this season. Hundreds of families in this area, in this county, in this neighborhood that I am in, they were the hardest hit by COVID because it's majority Black. Way under medium income level, highly immigrant community, but full of culture, full of life. They just need a break. And so this event that we're putting on, we want to provide that break. We want to partner with county resources and local organizations and partners, and we want to put on an opportunity to teach a man to fish. That is what this is about. Our food system stepped up, our charities, our food distribution sites, they stepped up and they fed the people during the pandemic. When the local food supply failed, they stepped up, they fed the people, but that just feeds the immediate need. We are teaching people to feed themselves for the long term, but we can't do it alone. I'm going to ask that if you have enjoyed Table Talk, that you would donate either time, talent, energy, and of course coins, so that we can continue our mission. If you enjoyed us, if you enjoy what we put on every single week, I think we do like between Master Gardener and Monday and this, we do like between 9 and 11 events a month, y'all. Do you feel that physically in your spirit?
I do.
Do you feel it in your shoulder? Like, we do Master Gardener Monday, every Monday, 90% of the Mondays. We do 2 free workshops a month. We answer questions and do like a plant clinic. We do 3 table talks a month, plus the other things that we're doing in the community. We tired, boss.
Boss lady.
I'm tired. I'm off next week. Y'all ain't gonna see me next week, okay? But if we've been a blessing to you, giving you something great to listen to, taught you something, our guests have taught you something, go ahead and show your support. Donate to the cause. Donate to the work that we're doing in this community, and partner with us. Volunteer to help us out. We need you.
Definitely.
So, that being said, this is the season finale of Table Talk. I love all of you. Keep going. Come on, y'all.
Yes. Keep growing. See, we remember.
All right. This is Vanessa, Jay, Gina, Homestead Hustling Healing. We love y'all. Have a good night.
Bye.